Hey guys, welcome to the video. Maestro here. Let's talk football. Okay, so this is the second week of the weekly roundup. This is the video where we kind of go through the week of football, midweek and the weekend itself, and kind of talk about the main talking points and kind of give my thoughts on them. But before we get started on that, I do want to kind of quickly mention a few because the thing is, I don't want this video to be very long, so I want to add some quick mentions to certain topics that just missed the cut to, for me to talk in more detail. And let's start with Bayern Munich versus Union Berlin 3-0. So Bayern, as I'm sure you're well aware, they own the Bundesliga essentially. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they've won 10 Bundesligas in a row. This will be their 11th, but they've had some pushback from certain teams in the Bundesliga. Let's go look at the table, specifically Dortmund, Berlin, and Leipzig. Berlin was the surprise one. I believe they were promoted around 3 years ago. It's a special story. They floored Ajax in the Europa League, and they're on to the next round of the Europa League, and they could be a huge threat there. And they're proving to so far be a threat in the Bundesliga too. But a much needed win from Bayern Munich, taking back the top spot with that monstrous goal difference on Dortmund. Look at that, 43-80, my goodness. And you kind of, with that win, you assume Bayern Munich will now move on to take the 11th in a row. And I just want to give a quick mention on that. And they're in good form right now, Bayern Munich, coming up to the PSG game. Moving on, the second quick mention is the Tottenham-Chelsea game. I already made a video on this, but just real quick, just if you missed it, you can check it. It should be on my channel. You can go and check that out. But my take from that, just the summary was, I just feel like Potter, I feel like the personnel in this team is actually good, and you can make it work to the point where you are challenging for the top four. I think these groups of players should be winning far more than they currently are, which, by the way, it's 2 wins in 16 games now for Chelsea, and Potter just can't get it out of them. It's there. The quality is there for Chelsea to achieve much better things, but Potter is proving himself to be not able to do so. So yeah. One more quick mention. Now, this might be a surprise to you guys, but the quick mention is the Carabao Cup final. Now, the reason why this is a quick mention is because I still want to talk about United, but a different game. I feel like the other game that I'm going to talk about is far more significant, and I will still mention the Carabao Cup final in in my review of the game. But real quick, Ten Hag's career has taken off at United. It's his first trophy. It is the Carabao Cup, but it does signify a sense of change at United. It is their first trophy in quite many years, and I mean, they were the better team. Newcastle really never. They never looked like they could score a single goal. After the 2 goals, it was essentially just sit back and just let Newcastle try and do their worst, and ultimately they never could conjure up anything that could hurt United. And a good win from United, a good start from Ten Hag, and I mean, yeah, Ten Hag's on fire, and this trophy does signify something special for United's change, good change. That's what it signifies. Let's move on to the actual topic. So, firstly, we're going to start with Leicester vs Arsenal. So, the reason why I talk about this game is, well, first of all, I'm an Arsenal fan, and it's favoritism. No, look, I think this game is noteworthy. Okay, let's talk about it in detail. So, I was actually nervous coming into this game. I was Leicester just recently. They lost 3-0 to United at Old Trafford, and you think, hey, if United can beat them 3-0, surely Arsenal can do a job on them. But when I watched the game, I felt like 3-0 was kind of flattering to United. I thought Leicester, if it wasn't for De Gea, I thought Leicester would be 2-0 up at half time. Certain things that could have gone certain ways, they really could have gotten something out of this game, that game against United. And I felt they were, of course, still a threat, and of course they are home, because we can't forget, before United, Leicester were in firing form. So they smashed Tottenham 4-1, who are no pushover, of course, and they've been in good form in general, and I was nervous. And a huge surprise, well, not a huge surprise, but an interesting choice from Arteta. You can see it right here. This is the starting lineup. Trossard at the number 9, Martinelli on the left. I thought, when I first saw this lineup, I'm thinking he'll play Martinelli in the middle, and he'll move Trossard to the wings. And no, that isn't what happened. Martinelli did spend most of his time on the left, but I will say this: Trossard was great. I do want to quickly mention Arteta once again with his signings just doesn't miss with Trossard and Jorginho too, which we'll talk about in a second. But Martinelli is a topic I want to talk about right now because he did not play well again. He scored a good goal, good finish, and I'm happy for him for that. But I can't ignore the fact that it feels like what's been a month and a half or 2 months now, where he just is always having trouble on the left and is always having trouble beating players and just being creative, being a menace for the defense. His decision making just seems very, very off. He reminds me of when Alex Iwobi played for Arsenal. You know, he had the quality, but his decision making was awful, to the point where he wouldn't even make a decision. He would just lose the ball completely. You can choose to pass to player A or pass to player B, and Iwobi would just not pass it at all and lose the ball. Martinelli is, of course, a much higher quality player than Iwobi. Of course, I'm not saying that anywhere near the same. Martinelli is much better. But I do worry how consistently now, for what feels like 2 months, he just can't seem to get his feet out from under him, and kind of, he seems to get into his own head, and his decision making. Sorry for that. His decision making has been poor. And look, once again, happy with the goal, but Arteta, of course, I'm sure he's aware of the situation. But I actually really am interested to know, once Jesus comes back, does he stick with Martinelli or does he go to Trossard? Personally, right now, I think I would go with Trossard. I know Martinelli is one for the future, but the situation Arsenal are in right now, with this crazy opportunity to win, to possibly win the league, it's about right for now. It's about right now, and right now, Trossard seems to be more of a good use than Martinelli. So I would go for him on the left once Jesus comes back. But listen, he is a young lad, and I am still very excited for Martinelli's future, but just worried at this moment. And now, secondly, in this game I want to talk about is Jorginho. So look, he does not make us better. Let me just start by saying that we are better 100%. We are much, much, much better with Partey in the team as opposed to Jorginho. But that is not an insult to Jorginho. He has come in and he has done good enough. He's done a job. And once I want to point this out again. Arteta he simply does not miss with his signings. This is once again a signing that some fans have been a bit iffy about, but it's been nailed on. When you talk about Ben White for 50 million, you're thinking that's a bit much. He's been fantastic. Zinchenko, do we really want City's leftovers? Nope, he's not a leftover. He's a fantastic, amazing fullback that they could really use right now, City. But no, we've got him, and he's been fantastic again. Trossard, he couldn't get Mudryk. He got Trossard. Well, Trossard's been fantastic. He's been better than Mudryk so far. Arteta does not miss with his signings, and the same goes for Jorginho. He's very calm, and I think compared to him at Chelsea, he's much more forward-thinking. He's not still. It's not always sideways passes with him. You do see many times in that game, there was that curved pass into Saka, and Saka would kind of take it into stride, and then we'd move forward into an attack. And Jorginho was pivotal for that. I don't have his statistics right now, but his stats are that of a perfect central midfield game. He didn't do anything crazy, but he was just what we needed. He was enough, I should say. Of course, Partey did come on, and I'm sure he will start in the next games or so. But it's nice to know that Jorginho will be there on the bench, that if in the future, God forbidding, Xhaka or Partey, they go through some injury, it's nice to know that Jorginho is there and can do a job. He won't be great, not better than Partey, but he will be enough for games like this. And that's kind of my thoughts in general about the game. Actually, one more thing. I know, listen, I don't talk about Leicester much, but Leicester with Brendan Rodgers. There was a time, this time last season, I'm thinking to myself, Rodgers has taken Leicester as far as they can go. There's nothing exciting about this team, about where you think they could go. And I think maybe we could see Rodgers moving on soon. Do I think he'll get a job as good as Liverpool again? No, I think people won't do that ever again. But look, Leicester probably are a team that want to not chill around the mid, but they want to push for Europe, and I don't think Rodgers is going to be able to do that. And I don't think that I'm not a huge fan of their defense and their team in general. Like, I like Ndidi, I like Iheanacho, Maddison, who I believe is injured. I love Maddison. I mean, we almost bought him over Odegaard. He's a fantastic player, but this isn't a team where like they seem to be stuck right now, and I think something needs to be done. One final say on the game: Gabriel. Gabriel was amazing this game. He was 7.1 does not do him justice. But these ratings are not what I think. This is just who scored the ratings. Gabriel has been great. The whole defense did nothing wrong the entire game. Leicester, I believe their XG was 0.1. That is ridiculous. Now you could say that's a knock on Leicester, but it's also a fantastic job by the Arsenal defense to know that, because correct me if I'm wrong here, but they had a 1.48 XG against United, did they not? You know, they were very dangerous against United at times, and that was not the case here. So that's a big praise on them. Now let's move on to United. So the reason why I didn't want to talk about United versus Newcastle is because I really wanted to talk about United versus Barcelona, and I don't want to talk about one team twice. I just don't think I want to do that. So this game, it went how I thought it would go. When this fixture was first announced, and then I saw how Barcelona were playing coming up to it, I'm thinking to myself, Barcelona should win this. United have been fine, they've been good, but I think Barcelona are currently just in top form, and I'm loving Pedri, I'm loving Dembele, Gavi, I'm loving Rafinha at times, I'm loving their defense, how solid they've been at the back, and I'm thinking, yeah, they should take this. Then Dembele got injured. Then in the first leg, 40 minutes in, Pedri got injured, and then Gavi was suspended for the next leg. And at that point, I'm thinking, yeah, at Old Trafford, there's no way United don't do the job. The game itself first, it's a great tie. Kudos to both teams. It was a very enjoyable tie, both matches, where I think it went well for United. Look, it's very United won in a very with thin edges. It wasn't a clean win from United. It was just a close game, close tie throughout both legs. And I think, look, maybe this is me being a bit unfair to United, but I think injuries just kind of decided this game. I think if Dembele plays and Pedri plays, I think Barcelona win. I do still. I mean, this is football. It's knockout football. Just because you win the tie does not mean you're a better team. Certain things go your way. In this case, injuries went United's way. But also, you have to capitalize on that. Rashford was, I thought, one fantastic at the Nou Camp. He was a shining light, and surprisingly, Fred for me was the man of the match. Him along with Martinez and Varane were the three best players for United during this tie. I'm being serious here. I mean, it's a huge surprise, but it's Ten Hag, and he just has a way of. I mean, look what he's done to Rashford. Changed him around, Shaw too, and there's no reason why you can't think he could do it with Fred. And for this one game, he was fantastic, and I've got to give him his credit. Kashmira I thought was good, not great. He was he was himself. He was assertive. He was dominant. There was that one time where Barcelona were in, and he kind of sensed the danger very, very early on, and it was fantastic clearance from that. That alone is just enough to say, what a player, Kashmira. Other noteworthy moments in the game, I think Araujo did a fantastic. Rashford has been in fire form. And for the first time since he's hit that form, he got stopped by Araujo. I think he did a fantastic job against Rashford, and credit to him. But listen, yeah, look, I don't want to, just discredit United. Just congratulations, but I will say injuries for me did decide this fixture, and I think, look, think about it like this. if Pedri came back, Gavi came back, Dembele came back. So Pedri and Dembele for me are two of the three best players. Okay, Pedri and Dembele. Gavi is, as I'd say, he's top 8, top 6, 7 player in the team. Okay, so let's take away two of United's three best players, who I would say is Casemiro and Rashford. Okay, Pedri is a midfielder, Cashmere's a midfielder, Rashford's a winger, and so is Dembele. You take them both out, and then you bring in Pedri and Dembele. Of course, Barcelona win that game. If Pedri and Dembele were fit and Casemiro and Rashford weren't, of course Barcelona win this tie cleanly. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I think there's a lot of people just kind of going around just really crucifying Barcelona and Xavi and saying, oh, look how terrible they are. And this thing that third place in the Premiership be first in La Liga is just completely out of context. First of all, did United not just gradually lose against Arsenal 3-2? Yes, okay, in the second half, Arsenal looked very dominant, but they still just about won Arsenal. Not to mention they beat City. Once again, a bit dodgy with the offside, but still they beat them. So this notion that, oh my goodness, third place beats first in La Liga, what a terrible league. No, that's just completely not fair. And also, if they were completely fit, it would be a different story most likely. But once again, I do want to mention Ten Hag. It's not crazy to say they could win 3 trophies this season. They've won 1 already. The Europa League and the FA Cup are very much possible for them. We'll see how it all unfolds. I believe the draw is in and they will be playing Real Betis. Another La Liga team, a good team, but United, should come out on top on that. So we'll see how that goes. But I honestly, I would love to see United Arsenal tie before the final, because it's one game in the final. I would love to have a 2-legged tie against Man United, and think that would be sorry about that. That would be amazing football to watch. Let's move on. Now, the final topic of the day is PSG, and specifically it's Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe. So I'm sure, as you're probably aware, Neymar is injured. Neymar is out. He was out for this game, and he will be out for the second leg against Bayern. And when I first heard of the injury, I thought to myself, let's go ahead and see something. Now, I am not denying that Neymar is still a world-class footballer, still a top level footballer. But sometimes there's too many cooks. What I mean by that, sometimes having 3 players up front that tend to sometimes be always want the ball with them, as well as never tracking back. Either 3 of them, not one of the front 3 is tracking back. This can cause issues. Ideally you want all of them to track back, but that's not going to happen. It's Messi, it's Mbappe, it's not what they do. But at least one of them, all 3, that's an issue. You need one, and with Neymar out, you have that extra man in the team that can do the nitty-gritty that Neymar does not do. And then you begin to see Mbappe and Messi getting on the ball more, because they win it back more with the extra man. And when they're both on the ball, things happen. Firstly, this tie, coming into it, I thought they'd lose. I'm being serious. I thought they were going to lose. Marseille have been fantastic this season. They are home. I'm thinking they will beat PSG. But what we saw instead was, first of all, credit where it's due. Fantastic performance all around. Messi and Mbappe, I'll talk about those 2 in a second, but I do want to mention Vitinho was the standout for me. I thought he was fantastic. The defense. Ramos had his second good game of the season after Bayern. He was tremendous. Donnarumma, as good as he is, as he should be. Ultimately, a great all-around performance. And real quick, I really feel sorry for Mbappe. He is injured again, and he will be out for quite a while. I wish him the best. But yeah, in general, a great all-around performance. But where it was won was the front 2, as you can see. The 9.3 Mbappe and the 9.5 Messi. It's the deadliest duo in world football. It's the best duo. They are both sensational. In my opinion, the two best players in the world. And just on that real quick, it's crazy how they are the two best players. I feel they have the two best players in the world, but they seem to be far off from a Champions League. It just goes to show how much focus needs to be put into the midfield and defense as well. Anyway, just on the performance, Messi looked on it. His passing was precise, his dribbling was very, very efficient, and rarely ever lost the ball, and kind of everything he did created something. Mbappe was electrifying, fast, shock, and focused. He took his chances, and he was as great as he was. The standout goal was the third goal. The second goal from Mbappe, third goal for PSG, in which Mbappe has the ball on the corner of the box, just outside the corner of the box, on the left side. He brings it back, passes to Messi, who's somewhat in the middle, and Messi knows exactly from the second Mbappe passes. He knows, they both know what's going to happen. Mbappe will run, Messi will chip it over. Mbappe will either control. You'd think he would control then shoot, but no, he goes for a fantastic volley with his left foot, and it's a fantastic goal. And it is just it's the best duo in football. It's the most entertaining show on the planet. When those two are firing, it's something special to watch. I would pay to watch either one of them. I would pay hundreds to watch either one of them. To watch both of them, that's being spoiled. But now, what do I think is going to happen against Bayern? Look, it's always nice to go into such games in good form. Actually, do you know what? Scrap what I just said. I do want to once again go back to the fact that they have no Neymar. So they could be better without Neymar. I kind of waffled off there, and they genuinely could be better without Neymar. I don't think it's crazy to suggest the possibility of that. Without Neymar, look, you can see now they're playing 3 centre backs, 2 fullbacks on 2 wide fullbacks, pushing up Mendes, coming forward, being as dangerous as ever alongside Mbappe. When you have Messi and Mbappe, they don't need much help on the offensive end. So if you just, without Neymar, you can use the extra man to have a defensive mindset on the pitch. And when that's the case, special things can happen. And it can be the formula to PSG being great, to PSG actually challenging for the Champions League. And let's not get ahead of ourselves. Beating Bayern, first of all, it could be the formula. And once again, I said, when Neymar got injured, I was like, okay, let's see something here, because I watched these two when Neymar's been injured before, and Messi and Mbappe were always great. He's injured again. They were fantastic against Marseille, and I'm very much interested to see what happens moving forward without Neymar, because he will be out for some time. And if the case is that they beat Bayern convincingly and go through, Gaultier has a very, very hard decision to make. He should genuinely consider benching Neymar even when he is fit. Now, that would be crazy. Player like Neymar does not belong on the bench, of course, but look, there are scuttlebugs that he is going to leave in the summer, so I guess this will just be another thing that pushes him out the door. But we'll see. Look, just to sum up, I genuinely think there's a possibility that Neymar could be a hindrance on this team, considering that without Neymar, you add a extra defensive mindset into that team. A player with that defensive mindset, and we all know how much they've struggled with that this season. And when you add that extra defensive player, they seem more secure, more compact, and then you leave Messi and Mbappe up front to do what they do, which is destroy teams. Just like they destroyed Marseille, and they can do the same to Bayern. I'm very interested to see what happens. And you know what? I would love to know what you guys think. So this is the video. I'm done here. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you guys think about 3 things. Number 1, Ten Hag. How do you think he's doing right now, and where do you think he can actually take United? Number 2, Messi Mbappe without Neymar, PSG without Neymar, do you think there is actual possibility as to maybe Neymar is a hindrance on this team? And if so, why? What's your reasoning? And do you think Gaultier should make that, what would be an insane decision to bench Neymar? Third, you know what? We never spoke about it in today's video, but Liverpool. I want your thoughts on Liverpool, on Jurgen Klopp, because they drew again against Crystal Palace, which I actually should have mentioned that. I forgot to mention that. I'm such an idiot. I watched that game against Crystal Palace. So flat, so boring, so meh. Just not fun at all. They can't seem to turn the corner. So your thoughts on Liverpool, and also one more thing, your thoughts on Potter. But that's all. Let me know down below. Please like if you enjoy. Please subscribe for more. It greatly helps the channel. Please take care of yourself and have a great day.